Good morning, y'all. I hope you're doing well on this Thursday. Thank you for allowing me some time to do a little bit of a different kind of conversation. I usually do a live stream video at least once a week. You know that the past 3 weeks we have done a series in observance of American Pharmacist Month. And I really took that time to do some deeper education for pharmacists and other healthcare professionals on the field of health content writing, what it is, why it's important, how being a freelance health content writer has shifted my career and trajectory, and how it has the power to do so for people like you as well. Today, though, is going to be a little bit of a different conversation. You'll learn something, you'll take away something, but it's not going to be um, as specific to health content writing itself. What I instead am really interested in doing is just like giving some huge shout out, some major praise to students who have come through the Health Professionals Health Writers Accelerator since its inception at the top of last year. I'm not going to be sharing any names or like specifics, specific identifying information, but just kind of talking broadly about the accomplishments and the successes that I know I'm personally most proud of on behalf of these students, and that I know they are really proud of themselves. And pharmacists, like, we tend to be private, we tend to be behind the scenes. So these wonderful people and amazing now health content writers have not been, super vocal about all of the accomplishments that they have achieved. And it's not my place at all to kind of call them out, even in a good way on that. So I'm just going to be talking broadly about some of the trends and patterns that I've seen, and they'll know who they are. They'll know who they are. And you all will kind of get to hear some of the successes that they have had along the way. So, by way of introduction, in case we haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Megan. I'm a public health pharmacist by training, but I primarily work as a health content strategist and a health communications specialist. I also run the Health Professionals to Health Writers Accelerator program, which teaches pharmacists and other healthcare professionals to how to replace a portion of their primary income, which is usually like that clinical income, through freelance health content writing. So, what we're talking about today is the successes of students who have come through the first I'll say 4.5 cohorts of health professionals to health writers. I'm saying 4.5 because the fifth cohort is ongoing, and they're about they started in September, so they're almost midway through their journey. So 4.5 cohorts. I think it's important to share upfront. We might have talked about this in one of the last videos in that American Pharmacist Month series, but for me, how I measure success for my students is in three different ways, and I measure that based on the three core objectives of health professionals to health writers. One, to make sure students have a solid understanding of what content writing, content marketing actually are. Secondly, to have them walk away with a strong starter portfolio that they can use to demonstrate their health content writing ability. And then third, for them to secure their first client. So these are all objectives that I'm looking at to evaluate whether my students are meeting the mark or not, are having success in the program or not. But as I mentioned in that video, there are also other ways that um, students are evaluating their success, and those may be personal measures that they have put into place. So maybe they have their own personal measures of deciding whether they are, successful in the program or as health content writers or not. And a lot of times, those personal measures have nothing to do with money, with what they're bringing in, even though that is a part of the goal of the program. So keep that in mind as we start talking about the student successes that I'm most proud of, because some of them are financially related, but a lot of them are not, or are indirectly related. So the first thing that really just brings me so much joy when I hear this from my students is freelancing is sorry, I got to back up again. Okay. Freelancing is a great option because it allows you it is a flexible option that can fit in with whatever you already have going on in your life. So, a lot of people, me included, when I started health content writing, I had a full time job. I was I wasn't the happiest in it, which is why I was looking for something else, but it was what it was. And I wasn't trying to leave at that particular moment. Like I had a 1 year old, I was planning a wedding, it was a lot going on. So I had a full time job, but I wanted to, one, do something that was more fulfilling to me and bring in some extra income on top of that full time job. So the goal of health professionals to health writers is not necessarily to make a full-time transition. However, one of the student successes that I'm very proud of is when students are able to leverage that into some type of full-time transition. So there have been a couple of students who have come through the program. One was she was in my second cohort, and one was in my most recent cohort, and they have transitioned out of their full-time clinical roles and are now primarily using freelance health content writing as their primary source of income. And so hearing that they've been able to leverage all of the work that they put in, all of the products that they produced, all of the skills that they learned, the relationships they built, and been able to take that into something that can not only supplement their primary income, but can start to replace that primary income, just brings me so much joy because I've been there myself, and I know how fulfilling that is to really build something from scratch, from the ground up, and to see it kind of blossom into what it really has the potential to be. And then there's also another student who was they made a full-time shift, but into a different type of role. So whereas they were previously in a I guess a non-writing role, I'll say, a non-writing pharmacy role, they were able to leverage what they learned through the program, what they produced through the program, and the client work that they secured after the program, and use that to bolster their candidacy for a writing specific full-time role at their same company. So basically they moved from a full-time pharmacy-esque role to a full-time writing role within that same company. And a huge chunk of the reason why they were able to do that is because of the experience that they had through the program and also working with clients after the program. So the new career opportunities is like number one thing that gets me excited because again, I know firsthand how impactful freelance health content writing can be in securing those types of new roles. I know what it's like to transition to health content writing full time. I know what it's like to leverage all of the clients that I've worked with and all of the writing that I've done to secure different types of full time roles. I've done all of that myself. And so to see my students being able to do those same things, it truly just brings me so much joy. And I'll add this one too. There are some students who have come into the program who are medical writers, but they are more traditional formal medical writers. And so they come into the program because learning health content writing, especially freelance, it's just a different beast. And seeing them be able to transition from more formal medical writing to more creative, fulfilling for us health content writing has also been a joy because that's another transition that I've experienced myself. So the new career opportunities and landscape is like top tier. That just brings me so much joy. Secondarily, I will say that um, when students secure their first clients, that's also something that really lights me up. I mentioned that that is a part of the core objectives of the program is to make sure that students are able to combine everything that they've learned, apply it, and secure that first client. And my students will tell you I'm always surveying them. Like I'm always checking in to see how are you feeling? What are you worried about? What are you nervous about? Where do you feel more confident? Where do you feel you've learned more? Like periodically throughout the program and after the program. And so I know for a fact that students can feel really intimidated coming into the program. They're simultaneously courageous and intimidated, right? They're intimidated, but not so much that it keeps them from moving forward, which I admire about them so much. But they can be really intimidated because they don't have a whole lot of confidence in their skill yet, because they don't have the skill yet. They're trusting that they will learn the skill throughout the process. And so I know upfront how worried they can be about whether somebody is actually going to give them a chance. Like some folks have said, I just don't understand why a company would want me to write for them. And I'm like, girl, you're a healthcare professional. Why would they not to want you to write for them? But so I say that to say that seeing on the other side, seeing them like go through all the challenges and do all the hard work and stay committed through all that and persevere through all that. And then on the other side, see them start planting those seeds with the clients that they really want to work with, and see them start to land those clients is like it's really a full circle moment for me and for them, because I know that it can be challenging to trust the process and trust the curriculum. But to see it come to light and to see all of that hard work and all of that trust come to fruition is just like the most rewarding of moments. So the second set of student successes that I'm super proud of is when students secure their first clients. The third is related, and this is when I kind of hear through the grapevine, through my own networks from like editors or marketers or other professionals in the field. When I hear feedback on my students from those people, and it doesn't come through my students, it comes directly to me through my network. And that always makes me feel great because, anytime you get unsolicited positive feedback, it feels rewarding, right? It's like, all right, I did something right. My curriculum is good, it's tight, it works. They were prepared for the real world. So one of the other things my students will probably say is like, I have high expectations. I'm tough on them. I'm a stickler about deadlines. I'm a stickler about time, but that's because I know what the expectations are when students are actually working with clients. I know what the client's expectations are, and I want my students to be prepared for that environment. So I try to prepare them for that within the safety of the accelerator. And so when I get that positive feedback from outside of that accelerator, from professionals in my network in the field, then it validates that the experience that I've created for them gave them the tools that they needed to understand how the industry works, and to meet the expectations of people in that industry. There are also, I think I've mentioned this before, although I don't talk about it publicly too much, but for students who are, committed throughout the duration of the program, they're doing everything, they're putting their best foot forward, they're pushing forward even when they are scared or nervous or intimidated, they're following all the directives. For those committed students, I have a lot of people in my network who always come to me for writing work, and I oftentimes don't have the capacity to take that work on. So if there are opportunities for me to make an introduction between my students who have been committed and those people who are in need of writers, then I make those introductions and I make those connections. And so sometimes those are the people who come back to me and say, "Oh my God, Megan, it's been such a joy to work with this person," or "This person is like amazing. Thank you so much for connecting us." And those are the things that just, again, it's kind of another full circle moment. It makes it all worthwhile. Because I'll be honest, like my students are probably tired as hell by the time the accelerator is over. And I too am exhausted by the time we have gotten to the end of the accelerator. And so these like positive successes and signs of like, y'all did good. Those are really uplifting for me. And I know that they are for my students as well. So the third student success that I'm really proud of is whenever I hear um, my connections or contacts in the field having really amazing experiences with students who have come through my program. And then the last type of student success that I'm most proud of. I could literally go on. I could literally have like 20 things in this list. So I intentionally stopped at 4. But the last thing that I'll talk about in this setting is just seeing the increase in confidence around having a brand new skill set that my students have. Um, I I empathize with pharmacists and healthcare professionals who feel like they are so siloed and stuck in their specific fields that they fear they don't know how to do anything else outside of that, purely because they haven't had the opportunity to, or because they've been so busy working that they haven't had time to explore other things. I truly empathize with being in that position, and I know that one of the reasons healthcare professionals are really interested in joining this program is because it gives them an opportunity to learn a related skill that is like outside of their norm, but still allows them to make use of all of the education, the knowledge, the experience that they've gained over time. So it's like a nice balance between something new, but still something relevant and related. However, because it is something new, even though it's relevant and related, it can be students kind of come in feeling like scared, right? They feel scared, they feel self-conscious, they feel nervous, they feel like they don't have a lot of confidence, and it's just because they don't know. They don't know what the skill set is, they don't know what they don't know, they don't have the writing experience, they don't have any of that. That's what they're coming into the accelerator to learn. And so I mentioned earlier that I am constantly surveying the students. Like I survey them before they start. I survey them a couple of times during the program, after the program. And one of the most rewarding and fulfilling things for me to see reflected in those surveys and in that feedback, and even in just how they present themselves, is that increase in confidence. Because I know when they come in that they're like, girl, we trust in you. I don't know about this, but I'm trusting you. I trust the curriculum. I trust your experience. I trust the previous students who have been through this program, but still I'm scared. And so to see them moving through the modules, moving through the workshops, moving through the experiences, even the tough ones, and pushing through, developing their portfolios, but also as a side product, seeing the confidence that's building in them bit by bit to the point where, you know, coming into the program, they had no idea what they were doing. And then now, 4 months later, they're able to actually go out there and start talking to leaders, marketing leaders at, innovative health companies and renowned health companies, and start securing that client work. That increase in confidence that is required for that cannot be overstated. And I try to give them as much credit, as many kudos as I can for that transition, but I can't say enough how proud of them I am for putting in the work, because that confidence doesn't just come by way of like sitting around, right? It doesn't come just by like listening to me talk. It comes by them doing the work that is required. It comes by them actively learning, by them doing their homework, by them doing their portfolios and making their revisions, by them going out and talking to people. It comes by action on their part. And it is not always easy to take active steps toward something when you don't necessarily feel confident in your ability to do so. So, what I am extremely proud of is them constantly being self-aware, understanding that even though I don't have the confidence, I know what steps I have to take in order to build that confidence, and I'm committed to doing that. And then to see them do it and to see the confidence come, it's just like it's everything. It's everything. So I just, if any of my former students are listening, I just want to say how proud of you I am, how appreciative of you I am for helping me fulfill my mission of bringing more pharmacists and healthcare professionals into the landscape of health content writing. That is like the core of why I created this program. And so for you to recognize that vision, believe in that vision, and also believe in yourselves, I just appreciate y'all so much. And I'm constantly rooting for you, constantly rooting for you. Um, so that's all I have. As I mentioned, I could go to like 20, but I'm gonna stop at 4. As a reminder, applications for the January cohort of health professionals to health writers are open. They do close on Monday. So if you are interested, if you're a US-based pharmacist or other healthcare professional who's interested in applying, all you have to do is comment right, and then we'll chat in our in messages. um, the applications close on Monday. So just be sure that you make that connection with me before then. The cohort is about halfway full, so there are a few more spots left. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Have a great Thursday.